Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopiranna Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopiranna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parilakacharya Stotarasta Sri Srimad Tadivina Se Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Om Agyanatirimandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Saksuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Chaitanya Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahayam Narati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakarpa Tarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya This is in English, right? So this is verse 43 of the 8th canto, chapter 5. Dravyam Vayo Karma Gunan Vishesham Yad Yogamaya Vihitan Vadanti Yad Durvibhavyam Prabhupapadam Prabhudapapadam Prashidatam Na Sa Mahavibhuti Dravyam Vaya Karma Gunan Vishesham Yad Goyamaya Vihitan Vadanti Yad Durvibhavyam Prabhupapadam Yad Durvibhavyam Prabhudapadam Prasidatam Nakshamaha Vibhuti
Karma Gunan Vishesham Yad Yogamaya Vihitan Vadanti
Yad Yogamaya Vihitan Vadanti
Yad Durvibhavyam Prabhudapapadam
Yad Durvibhavyam Prabhudapapadam Prasidatam Naksamaha Vibhuti
Dravyam Vaya Karma Gunan Vishesham
Ragomaya Vihitam Vadanti Dardu Vibhavyam Prabhudapapadam Prasidatam Naksamaha Vibhuti Dravyam Vaya Karma Guna Vishesham Yad Yogamaya Vihitam Vadanti Yad Durvibhavyam Prabhudapapadam Prasidatam Naksamaha Vibhuti Mataji Dravyam maya karma gunan vishesham Yad yoga maya vitan vadanti Yadur vibhavyam prabhupa baladham Prasidatam nakshamaha vibhuti Karmuna vishesham Yad yoga maya vitan vadanti Yadur vibhavyam prabhuda parabhyam Prasidatam nakshamaha vibhuti dravyam. The five elements of the material world. Vayam, time. Karma, fruitive activities. Gunan, the three modes of material nature. Vishesham, the varieties caused by combinations of the 23 elements. Yat, that which, that which. Yogamaya, by the Lord's creative potency. Vihitan, all done. Vadanti, all learned men say. Yad durvibhavyam, which is actually extremely difficult to understand. Prabudha pabadham, rejected by the learned, by those who are fully aware. Prashidatam, may be pleased, not upon us. Saha, he. Mahavibhuti, the controller of everything. All learned men say that the five elements, eternal time, fruitive activity, the three modes of material nature, and the varieties produced by the three modes are all creations of Yoga Maya. This material world is therefore extremely difficult to understand, but those who are highly learned have rejected it. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. You can repeat. All learned men say that the five elements, eternal time, fruitive activity, the three modes of material nature, and the varieties produced by these modes are all creations of Yoga Maya. This material world is therefore extremely difficult to understand. But those who are highly learned have rejected it. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. The purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The word Durvibhavyam is very important in this verse. No one can understand how everything is happening in this material world by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through His material energies. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharam. Everything is actually happening under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This much we can learn. But how it is happening is extremely difficult to understand. We cannot even understand how the affairs within our own body are systematically taking place. The body is a small universe, and since we cannot understand how things are happening in this small universe, how can we understand the affairs of the bigger universe? Actually, this universe is very difficult to understand. Yet, learned sages have advised, as Krishna has also advised, that this material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. In other words, it is a place of misery and temporality. One must give up this world and go back home, back to the personality of Godhead. Materialistic may argue, if this material world and its affairs are impossible to understand, how can we reject it? The answer is provided by the word Prabhu pa. That's a difficult one. Huh? Prabhu da pabatam. We have to reject this material world because it is rejected by those who are learned in Vedic wisdom. Even though we cannot understand that this material world is, what this material world is, we should be ready to reject it in accordance with the advice of learned persons, especially the advice of Krishna, who says, Mam apetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. One has to return home back to Godhead, for this is the highest perfection of life. To go back to Godhead means to reject this material world. Although we cannot understand the functions of this material world, and whether it is good for us or bad for us, in accordance with the advice of the Supreme Authority, we must reject it and go back home, back to Godhead. All learned men say that the 5 elements, eternal time, fruitive activity, the 3 modes of material nature, and the varieties produced by these modes are all creations of Yoga Maya. This material world is therefore extremely difficult to understand, but those who are highly learned have rejected it. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta So there are many reasons to reject the material world. Even material poets and philosophers, they know this place is a place of misery. All these philosophers in the Western world are writing about the same subject, thousands of books without giving an answer at the end of the book. They just go around saying how this material world is so hard, and there is no love, and there is no this, and etc., etc., and it should be rejected. So this kind of rejection is artificial, because the seed of desire is still there in the heart. This material world is offering us all kind of desire, but as soon as we think we are grabbing this fulfillment of our desire, it turns into something ugly and it becomes distasteful. So there is one way, Yukta Vairagya, Falgu Vairagya. This Falgu Vairagya is artificial. So this Falgu Vairagya means, for some reason, I'm frustrated in the material world, frustration, then I don't want, then I live my whole life in anger like this. Anger and frustration. What kind of happy book I can write on that? We are rejecting also the material world. I was going to say slowly, bit by bit, but it's not exactly like that. Like Prabhupada writes in the purport, we may understand or not, but because the sages are saying it, let's do it. And then we take our time to learn why. But why this material world is so bad, why it has to be rejected, why, I cannot enjoy and then die peacefully and go back to Krishna, why it's not made like that. The answer is given also. Prabhupada's purport says that very simple. This like washing machine. You buy a washing machine, is made to wash clothes. You buy a fridge, is meant to keep the food cold. And this material world is made, ashajvatam, again, this dukalayam, ashajvatam. Voila, you get the packet in your house, they deliver to you a machine, and it's written for what it is done. Dukalayam, ashajvatam. There is nothing like unhappiness and this and that. So we may argue further and say, but maybe on this planet is like this, and maybe of my bad karma, I am also punished not to have so much happiness. But I heard there are higher planets where it is possible. There are some higher planets, and we can go, and finally we can delight. Yes, but again, it is ashajvatam, it will not stay. It will stunt our intelligence. Our intelligence will be stunted by material pleasure. It is said that in this world, the feeling of happiness we enjoy when we gratify the senses is the worst enemy of the spirit soul, because it brings some samskar, and this samskar they want again. Punak punash charvitat charvana nam. If we have a little brain, we can understand it is just like chewing the chewed. Then devotees, we are happy with this understanding, and we are ready to make the tapasya as much as we can on all our life, if possible. Because there is a process in this Vaishnava sadhana, there is a process of gradual discovery of happiness and gradual diminishing of misery. And that is already good enough for us. We know when I practice Krishna consciousness, things become clear, my life becomes more clear, and happiness disappears bit by bit. So I believe that if I continue, eventually I will reach this end. The end is to have this wonderful darshan, Krishna face to face. Not that with my own endeavor I have finally come to Krishna, break the door and here he is. No, it's completely opposite. It's opposite. It's by proving to Krishna that I really want him, by going through many tests, by becoming humble, by developing knowledge. Krishna is not inattentive. He knows well what is his soul, he really has a desire, Lo'olam. Apparently, let's try a few more years, maybe 1 or 2 more lives, etc. But he has this desire, he's cramped in it, like this. Then Krishna comes. Krishna comes, as simple as that. And he shows himself to us, and we know the process for this, from Shraddha, Tata, Sadhu Sangha, Anartha Nivriti, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhava, Parema. We say it in 2 minutes, but it goes. How many lives are there? How many lives are there to reach that? But already we have faith. We know there is God. We know, we can see there is God. We know that the arrangement of material nature is so perfect. There must be someone, like Einstein was saying, don't think there is not a big brain behind all this. Very simple saying, don't think there is a big brain behind all this. Yes, but what, how is, and etc., etc. So this is our adventure. We are devotees because we are very curious about the process. Curious, in need, whatever, but we want to know. It's attracting. This Srimad Bhagavatam is full of secrets. The more we read, and the more, even if we know it's not within my grasp, still it's wonderful. There is no other goal to reach for in this life. It is this goal for, even we don't get it in this life, it's okay. We have used our human life properly, at least. Now, it is explained in different parts in the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is this material world exactly? How does it start? Where are those energies coming from? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. mind, intelligence, ego, the three modes of material nature, time factor. It has not been always manifested, but it has always been existing under the form of pradhan. This pradhan is a very mysterious thing. It is all these elements of material nature in a non-manifested stage. Like in this material world, if we would want to build a house, there is a plan. And with this plan, you can say it's a subtle manifestation of the house. There is only time on this element, also earth, cement, water, etc., to be built, and some human endeavor. So much energy has to be spent in front of this plan. Already this plan has been the cause of so much energy. So this is in the material world. This pradhan is like you have in the pocket this telephone, this smartphone. So much energy in there. It's in your pocket. It's nothing. You want to know, tell me something wonderful, like nobody knows, whatever, you know, how many, I don't know, you know, like any question, it click, and that's here. So Krishna has this pradhan, energy, these five modes of material nature, these elements, the mind, all the subtle elements, the mind, the intelligence, the ego, whoop, in his grip. And how it is put into function. Interesting enough, we have to know in this pradhan, the three modes of material nature, they are in line. They are not manifested. They are in line. There is no creation, there is no maintenance, there is no destruction. And when Mahavishnu comes and he looks at this, it's like you push the button, and whatever machine you are putting into it starts to work. Then when Krishna looks at the modes, at the material nature, at the pradhan, the three modes are the clack, clack. It starts, creation. And time, this look of Krishna, this look of Mahavishnu is a time factor. There is no time in this pradhan. Prabhupada writes it's almost comparable to the void, to a void. So when Krishna looks at it, Mahavishnu looks at it, it becomes not disorganized, unbalanced, whatever, what adjective you would use, you know. It starts to work, in other words. It starts to work because it's impregnated by all the spirit souls at the same time. And then from this pradhan with the spirit souls and the time element, the Prakriti is manifesting. Nature, bit by bit. The water in the universe, and the earth, and this and that. It takes millions of years to produce. And when there is destruction, it's going the other way. The other way. The other way means the final stage is earth. And this earth has all the qualities of the preceding elements, of the water, of the fire, of the ether. So at the end, there is incredible heat. The sun is 12 times hotter than usual. And it dries out of the universe every single drop of water that there may be, all the material bodies, or the planets, or the oceans, etc. It's a process which takes thousands of years, and there is a big mass of cloud in the universe. There is only clouds. All the planets, like the Earth, they are like dry cow dung. You see in India, the dry cow dung, it's burned. There is nothing more. Somebody is not agreeing, huh? And then these planets, they dissolve in the water of the universe, which is absorbed in the fire, and then from there, air, space in the Om, and the Om in Vishnu, and he takes back his little machine, Pradhan, put back in the pocket, say, oh, next creation, we'll see. This is God. This is God. Dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. This is the person from whom we are taking our knowledge. Evam paraprapta midam rajarsayo vidu. We bring it to us right now. We have pure, clear scientific knowledge. If we could digest this knowledge enough and have also the scientific jargon on training, we could argue and defeat any scientist in the world. There is no answer to this. They cannot prove that there is something in this material world which has come by chance. They say everything has come by everything, not something. Everything has come. We say nothing has come by chance. So why they don't accept? Because it is so fearful, a person behind all this. Suddenly I have a competitor. There is no God. God is dead. You crazy. That's what they think. It happened, especially like the big rush. It happened in the beginning of the 1900s. I have this example is very. It struck me. I read in a magazine about the discovery of electricity. I never imagined the psychological shock it was in humanity, because we take it for granted. Oh, electricity, they discovered electricity, they discovered this, la brouette, tout ce qu'on veut, etc. But before this, everybody was living by candlelight. You can imagine the world is quite different. There is no TV, no this, no this, no this, no this, not so many things. No elevator in the building, nothing like that. Candlelight every day. And then they discover electricity, and next year there is international, how they call it, in France or different countries, fair, yeah, international fair, with a building only for electricity, a big salon with mirrors and thousands of bulbs. Can you imagine the shock? People come there from Châteauroux or something, go to Paris, and they come to their house and they read in the same year practically, they read in the newspaper, they discover airplane. It's going like 10 meters, poof, 10 meters, poof. And after this, 2-3 kilometers, and after this, Orléans, Paris, etc. Say, wow, this is religion. They are the real sadhus, the scientists. At the same time, they condemn the Catholic Church, and they took all the properties or the money of the church, etc. And they say, religion is number two, For those who want to believe, okay, you go to religion, but we are going to change everything. We are going, yes, but the air is becoming polluted by, we are going to make our air. I heard they think they make a big cupola around the country and have their own little world, and they will do themselves and they'll be the king there. So we are becoming, this is a big challenge, Srimad Bhagavatam, for these people. If they want to sit and talk for a few days, not in 5 minutes, but for a few days, with some self-realized soul, if they're honest, they will understand, yes, you're right. Many of them understand, but they will say, my dear man, I know, by my research, by microscope, telescope, I know there must be some intelligence, but I cannot speak, If I speak, I write articles, I lose my job. Right away, I'll be kicked out. And I will not find any more job. Nobody will want me. So I have to do like everyone, and every 20 years we let a little bit of the truth appear for the mass of people, so we have time to adjust our material progress and consumerism. Mainly, all our discovery have to be turned into something commercially available. So we have to get out. Only Srila Prabhupada has given us the vision to get out of this trap. Naturally, before we respect all these things, people with degrees and this and that, and good education, etc., etc. But if we find out what is the goal of their lives, probably it's just to fill up the stomach of themselves and the children and the wife, that's all. And how they get there? The family pushes them right away, right in the beginning. You know, you better get a good. Anyway, we all know all these things. So let's consider those things. Let's see the mechanism of this material world. Let's consider why we have been put into this material world. That's another subject again. Because I have some hate for God. Horrible. I hated God. You know, who he thinks he is. I want to be like that also. But I cannot be like that because in the spiritual world there is already somebody like that. So it's making another world. So we can all try. We can all try. We all come in the material world pure with no karma. We're coming from a place where we have not made any karma. Means what kind of position we'll get? Highest, of course, highest. We are completely pure. We don't have to suffer, whatever. And bit by bit, bang, 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 and 4,300,000 species of life, we have to go again and again and again. Take millions, billions of years, until we can find, you know, this Guru, Krishna, Prasad, Pai, Bhakti, Lata, Beach. We don't even understand what has happened to us. We understand by talking like this amongst us, we understand like we understand much more than before, at least. But we know the process is to work on ourselves. This is it. This is it. The external problem, they will come and go, they will not stop. We cannot think, oh, finally, no. But personally, yes. We have, even we're in the middle of the problem on this, but we are stable. We have to be steady and make our progress toward those higher promises. And Krishna, eventually, you know, when he wants, he will give us, and then we'll be totally happy. No more any fear or competition and these things. No. And we can participate in the development of Krishna consciousness in a free spirit with all the talents Krishna gave us. Krishna gave us, all of us. We have some special qualification and we can engage this to Krishna. We don't reject it, say, oh no, Prabhu, it's not true, I'm not so good, I'm just... No. Krishna makes me like this. Let me engage this for him. Very healthy life. Are there any questions? Maybe it's already 10 minutes, I think. Or comments? Please.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
In the verse and the purport, it describes, the very word is yoga maya viditana, that we have yoga maya. This world, I don't remember the exact words, but it's kind of, what does it say exactly in the verse regarding to yoga maya?
This one.
Yeah.
Yad yoga maya vihitan vadati.
What does it say?
By the Lord's creative potency.
By the Lord's creative potency. And then we're told we should reject this. It seems a little, I'm sure it's not, it could sound a little kind of like contrary. Because yoga maya is generally understood the potency which reveals, sometimes covers, sometimes reveals Krishna. It doesn't seem to, it seems that we have to reject yoga maya. It seems a bit Mayavad or something.
It is.
It seems like it's important.
I have this feeling also very strongly. But at the same time, if you allow me to answer, at the same time, these two energies, avidya and vidya. This avidya and vidya, they act materially. Avidya and vidya. We are covered by the material energy, and the same energy, avidya, she liberates us from the material energy, but it doesn't go further than Brahman. So this is what has to be rejected, I believe. Because already the word disturbed me a bit, yoga maya, I was thinking is yoga maya also. But once we have rejected this process of vidya, avidya, Krishna says to Uddhava in the 11th canto that this vidya, avidya, this to find good and bad in this world is also an illusion, because there is no good nor bad. So Uddhava is arguing with him. He says, but the Vedas are based on this. Good karma and bad karma. How we can reject that? But Vaishnava philosophy, it goes above this nishtre gunya bhavarjuna. It goes above this conditioning and liberation. The soul is neither liberated, neither conditioned. It is above the three modes of material nature. And our process of sadhana bhakti, it naturally brings us through this. By this verse also, we can Brahma, Bhuta, Prasannatma. We also come to that stage of Brahman when we are liberated from all anxieties and all this disturbance created by the three modes of material nature. And then, Brahma, Bhuta, Prasannatma, na sochati, this is the symptoms, na sanchati, na kankshati. Somebody is never lamenting, never accusing, never this, because he's full, happy. And in this state, mad bhaktim labate param, in this state he can engage in my service. There is no anartha, there is a stability of practice. And then, anyway, I don't want to continue like this, but that's how I see this line, like Yogamaya, Mahamaya, of course, is the same energy, we can say, but it has a different, how to say, goal, different. Yogamaya generally is making us discover the spiritual world. On Mahamaya, we know it's, she has these two energies, Prakesha, Kaktina, Shakti. She through us and she covers us, these two things. Then avidya, vidya, avidya, vidya. Above that, is that all right? It has to be discussed in long. Yeah, it's a subject for discussion, definitely. That's what we're supposed to do, right? Like the scientists in the laboratory, they exchange their experience, they come to some conclusions, and after a few days they may meet again and say, well, I think I made a mistake in this should be like that should be like this. This should be our main business. The rest comes after. The rest is there, of course, it's no denying. We have to work, we have to do this, although it's the same spirit. But really, I think we neglect a lot this work, sitting down with friends, 2 or 3, not necessarily too many people, and discussing this, the Shastras, and, clarifying our mind, our doubts, and all these things. That's how we advance, In the Bhagavatam, it is said this process is the key for controlling the senses. So when we associate with devotees, it becomes very easy to control the senses. There is satisfaction. When there is satisfaction, the mind is not so demanding. The senses are not so demanding.
We generally understand that yoga means to connect. So, and Maya means energy, at least. So the energy that connects. So, but in this context, it's a little, what does it connect us with? We understand that in the spiritual world, it connects us with Krishna. In this context,
this is Yoga Maya. Yeah. Of course, energy, we say there are so many energies, but there is one energy of Krishna.
Yeah.
This one energy of Krishna is essentially busy with keeping Krishna's happiness increasing more and more and more. So one face of it, one side of it, we can say, she's also she's also Mahamaya. Means she makes sure unwanted people don't approach Krishna. That's her role. Is it understandable?
Yeah.
She has this, like when you really love somebody, you will protect them. So Radharani in the spiritual world, she's Radharani, but when she sees some souls, they want to be separated from Krishna. They want to go away from Krishna. Okay, she stands at the door. I mean, not her, but her energy stands there and says, no, you don't come. You know. I don't want you to disturb Krishna. That's my only explanation. That's personal, very personal, we can say, right? At this point. But this Mahamaya, everything feminine in the world is coming from her. Everything from the fairies, the rivers, the whatever mystical thing they are in the forest and etc. Feminine is also from Radha. So she becomes millions of energies. I don't explain this very well, I think, but I think it's not so complicated when we see in simple terms, there is only Krishna in existence. Krishna is never alone. He's always with his unlimited energies. So we have to see, what his unlimited energies. So he has this personal, this love energy coming from him. It's coming from him. It's not separate from him, Radharani, and she wants to. That is the only necessity for Srimati Radharani is to keep Krishna satisfied. In the spiritual world, she manifests in so many ways to keep Krishna happy. In all the gopis, etc., etc. In the material world, she manifests in some other energies which cover the spirit soul. Maya, death, disease, all this. Don't think it's coming, some other thing. It's all from Krishna. Some devotee, I was arguing with Vishnu Rata one day. Say, oh, Maya is so hard. I hope Krishna will be well, the real culprit is not Maya, it's Krishna. Krishna says to Maya, and Maya acts. So we don't understand. I don't the situation of unlimited perfect happiness that Krishna enjoys. And we are also energies of him. We are just his energy. He can put us there, he can put us there. But we are energies different from material energy. We are allowed free will. Krishna doesn't force us, really. Krishna doesn't force us. We say, oh, you don't love me? It's fine, never mind. What do you want? You want it? Okay, I give you, no problem. See, this state of detachment is rarely seen. Is there any other comments?
Pleasure of their lordships. Thank you very much for a very important, fascinating and captivating subject matter. But just the scores yesterday from the book distribution.
Most important, right?
Well,
Sankirtan. Sankirtan.
Some living entries again, the mercy. Devotees who were again yesterday in Dijon, and they're staying with in Van Leer's apartment, not with her, but in her apartment. And Nitai Charan Prabhu didn't have a full day. He did 3 Bhagavad Gitas, 3 medium books, and 1 Arabic book. Tijal also didn't have, which went for a short while, 4 Bhagavad Gitas and 1 small book. Ramlila went out for a small while she was cooking for everyone. She did 6 Bhagavad Gitas and 5 medium books. Ramlila. And Nitai did 10 Bhagavad Gitas, 7 medium books, and 2 small books.
10 Bhagavad Gitas.
Vivekananda Prabhu yesterday, he went on book distribution using chants. Yesterday, 19 Bhagavad Gitas, 4 medium books, and 4 small books. So 42 Gitas, 19 medium books, 7 small books, and 2 Arabic books.
Incredible.
Yeah,
For now.
Compared to what you used to do, it's like one devotee's morning sankirtans, Still, that's something.
For now, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But if you read this 40 years ago, for example, you have to go out right away and come up to at least 100 or 200 books.
Yeah, at least.
No?
That's not even a morning sankirtan for one day.
But it's picking up now. It's starting.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Because they go into OTs and they preach to people, they talk to people. They're doing Harinam at the same time. They're interacting with Harinam books at the same time. They're not just doing books.
This is perfect for France, who have to be distributing like this in dhoti and shape, like they're very traditional.
You can't hide it. And Vivekananda the other day had a book table. He puts a book table up and does kirtan on the book table. He just plays his harmonium and people just come up to the table. He did 20 Gitas just sitting there playing harmonium the other day. Just sitting at the table.
This is Krishna showing us little bit. Say, you see what could happen? You see what you could do? Yeah.
You don't have to, And people come to him, he just talks to them and they buy a Gita.
They are all here now? They came back? They came back?
No, that's the
We have to greet them when they arrive.
Well, we don't know when they're coming. They might not come back. I don't know if they want to come back. They will come back to get more books.
Horrible place.
Horrible place.
They can receive the books by train also, right?
They rejected this with Yoga Maya or whatever, in another dimension.
Who are there trying to talk how to get there, but they are already there.
It was all in genuine Sankirtan, we're already there.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
You are doing Sankirtan? Yeah?
He's been traveling 3 years on the Harinam Ruchi.
He told me a little bit only.
Now he's locked up here.
Yeah.
Doing Harinam all over the world for 3 years in book distribution.
We should end the class, I think. Shrimad Bhagavatam, qui day, tout doit aux assemblées. Hare Krishna.